LEGO recently released this concept art revealing a cancelled version of an elemental mech for Nia, so let's go ahead and build it. Now right off the bat, the overall design of this mech is very similar to that of the Sora Tech mech, which means I can just use this set as my base and move from there. So the first thing we're going to do is the skirt section. Now I didn't really love the way they did this on the original Sora build because the skirt pieces aren't fully centered with the ball joint, which can be a little bit annoying to pose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this 1x1 clip on top of this brick, and that's going to solve that issue. Then I'm going to rearrange these gold slopes to better match the shaping of this image, and then fill in some of the empty spots with some cheese slopes, and I'll use that as my base. The arms are going to be a little bit more interesting because with the actual sets, they all use a full-size ball joint, but in the image, the arms look relatively thin, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move towards a mixel ball joint design, and then hopefully the weapon won't be too heavy. Speaking of which, the weapon is probably going to be the single easiest thing to build here. I'm just going to yoink the base of the coal hammer, put some blades up top, and I think that's going to be light enough for the mixel ball joints to support. Now for the legs, it's kind of hard to actually see what they're supposed to be from this image, so I took the original Sora leg designs and I just kind of changed it to be blue, and I added this gold armor piece on top. As for the foot, that's going to be a little bit more clear. What we're going to do here is just take a simple slope piece, add this gold piece on the toe and up top, and then I'm going to add these black pieces on the heel because I'm not going to lie, the original foot design was looking a little boring, so this is just going to make it a little bit more interesting to me. The main torso is probably going to be the most difficult part since that needs to be done pretty much entirely from scratch, but it's also going to be one of the more fun parts for me because I feel like I have the most creative freedom here. Now, at first I started with a base design very similar to the one from the Kai mech, but I found these fender pieces and I thought that'd be a really cool thing to integrate around the shoulders, and it would help to fill that part out of the side, especially since there's a mixel ball joint here and that's a lot thinner than the full-size version. I also added these small strands light blue cheese slopes just for a little bit of an elemental feel, and also I added these gold pieces around the cockpit just to keep it more in line with the official sets. So at this point we have a mech pretty similar to the other sets released, but we're not actually done yet because this mech actually has a tail for some reason. Now at first I thought the tail would be kind of difficult to design because it has all these blades, but all it really took was some mixel ball joints, and then it was pretty easy after that. But I do wish I had this piece in black just so the design would look a little bit better. And the last thing we have to do to complete this mech is just add in Nia, and unfortunately I don't actually have the Season 2 mech suit for Nia, so I'm just going to have to use his core figure instead. And altogether, I actually do really like this mech. It shares a lot of the ideas of the official Sora set, like the skirt and the shoulder blades, but it does have that Nia flair to it, and there is something cool about looking at this mech because LEGO has never actually made an official Nia mech with this color scheme, so it's kind of like the first time seeing what that would be like, even though the concept maybe went a little bit too hard with the blue on the legs. The articulation here remains as good as the regular sets, and it even has no problem holding up the weapon even with the mixel ball joints, but my personal favorite thing about this whole mech is actually the tail. It's the most random thing ever, but it adds so much character to this mech and it makes it super unique from the others.